All right, I'm here with Mr. Toby Francis himself, and this is the man and the toys behind one of the best sounding shows that I've ever heard, really, honestly. And he's gonna walk me through this rig and what's going on. What's going on here?
Well, it starts on stage with Rupert Neve Designs RMP preamps, and the signal comes out here digitally with fiber. It gets converted, the redneck converters.
Yep.
Goes into a Yamaha PM5000 console, line level inputs, but we've reduced the level on different converters to find the sweet spot on the input. For like the drums are a little different than the guitars or the bass.
You are going mic. You are going mic in.
Well, it's like there's only one input on this console. It's mic or line level, according to how you've got it attenuated. We're kind of between line level and mic level.
Right.
We found that there's a spot in there, but each input is slightly. We found what worked best.
Yeah.
And figured that out in rehearsal. And then we're inserting in the vocals, it's just the primary source enhancers first. For John and Anthony, it's the 901s, dynamic EQs that are basically cleaning the mics up.
Yep.
The Shepherd channels is where I'm EQing and using the Silk to add high end.
Yeah. I see your red silk type of guy.
Well,
right?
yeah, but and one of the reasons I use so much red silk is I use a lot of compression.
Right.
And if the red
right.
silk pushing into the compression keeps things present,
Yeah.
it keeps it from going down. And then each vocal has a CL1A or CL1B.
Jesus.
So they're very smooth.
Yep.
There's a Crane Song Ibis EQ across the vocal group, and a Tube Tech SMC 2B.
Oh yeah.
That also smooths it out. If
Yep.
Anthony's singing in the lower range, it compresses it one way. If he cups the mic a lot,
Yep.
when he does that, this mid-range compressor kind of allows for that and keeps the vocal full sounding. The band output stems from the group outputs into this summing mixer that adds the drums, bass, guitar, keys together. How this is driven is kind of the sound of the wall of sound that we've created for the band. The drums go through the API, the bass goes through this NG bus compressor. The guitar is another SMC2B, which John uses Marshalls and Strats, which can get real bright and twangy, and the way the multi-band is set, it kind of grabs the 2K area a little harder than the upper, and then when he goes to the Gretsch, it stays full and round.
Wait, before we go further, tell me about the satellite.
The satellite
that was the coolest trick, I think, because you're using really like all the outputs.
Going from mixing on digital consoles to mixing on analog consoles, you lose unlimited amount of channels, you lose unlimited amount of dynamics, you lose the ability to group things and put groups into groups, and analog consoles don't work that way. So to kind of keep some of those techniques that I got accustomed to mixing digitally, one is taking the kick drum and grouping it down to a mono group, and then putting that group into the drum group. So I use the satellite mixer to take that in and out kick, group it together. It goes through the bus, and I drive it really hard and put red silk because it's going into a shit ton of compression after, and then it goes. The output goes mono into one channel, where I put a drummer gate, this multi-band compressor that smashes the mids. Instead of EQ in the mids, we're compressing them.
This thing it's really, man, like
It's
I feel
badass.
like
It's a VCA bass.
you gain like a lower octave out of that kick. I feel like it sounds sometimes like it's synthesized, but it's really it's
sounds
probably
like a
that,
sample.
right?
Yeah, it
it's
sounds
just
sort of
insane.
like a sample.
It's insane.
And then I use a West Audio Downy compressor to parallel compress it.
That's, yeah.
And we make a consistent one-channel kick drum.
Yeah.
With the summing mixer, I also do the top-bottom snares on snare 1 and 2.
Yep.
Drive it through the bus, but I use blue silk to make the snare drum fatter. We've got plenty of bite
Yeah.
to make it a little fatter sounding.
And that's what's clever here because you do have the like one of the outputs can drive blue and then the other one red. So obviously,
And it's two totally different sounds. Like one day we didn't turn those on when we were fired up everything, and we started checking on. Wow, and I looked and like instantly knew that those two buttons had not been.
That happened to me last show. Like my drum bus, because I have the 524s. I totally forgot when I restarted the system, and then it's crazy.
Flea's bass sound there's 3 channels. I've got the tape emulators, the 542s.
542s.
Again, and then I'm saturating it pretty intensely.
Yeah.
Flea likes a bright, very present bass sound. So red silk again into the compression, and then back up into the summing mixture.
Because it doesn't ever lose the bottom. I mean, the bottom end on Flea is insane. Like it sounds insane.
And I don't do anything.
Yeah.
The one channel I never touch. But he's got various sounds that comes out of his rig.
Oh yeah.
Just by him making changes. Most of this stuff tailors everything and keeps it tight where I stay out of their way.
Yeah.
If John does a solo and boosts, what you're hearing is his boost. I just make sure the stereo stays balanced.
Yeah.
You know, and I do very little if every knob is where it's supposed to be. But there's 42 tubes out here. There's more stuff under here. We're using another R&P here to create stems that we send to the lighting guys, the video guys to trigger stuff.
That's the entire front end is.
Well, and then we don't use the only EQ on the PA is this Massenburg parametric.
Is this guy running silk as well?
It's red silk here,
silk too,
blue silk here. So we're using both. And this widens the band mix and deepens it. And that'll give you a little, in big ambient rooms like this, it gives you a bigger place to put your vocal. Like Anthony's vocals, very present and very, even though the band's quite loud and mighty, but you always hear the vocal.
Yeah.
I listen to the YouTube videos and I've heard stuff from way up in the back. I'm shocked at the timbre. One of them, I can see Chris, the drum tech, playing tambourine, and I hear it clear as bell.
No, I've walked this entire room, and I can tell you can really. But
this is a drastically different approach to doing. This. It's kind of old school, kind of new.
But you capture the sound of the band and all those like huge records. The signature, I feel like I was telling you about that. It's that warmth, also that drive, because it's a rock show, so it's
this
really,
band is feel and tone.
Yeah.
A lot of feel and a lot of tone. And there's only 4 guys up there, so each thing is very important that it's big and in its place. And the set list is different every night. There's 60 songs that we pull from, so it's and magical. There's been nights where it's unbelievable what's happened. Even though we're playing these really big, very ambient, historically bad sounding buildings. And getting I think all 3 bands have done an amazing job at.
Well, I mean, thanks, but you are absolutely like I told you about the Toronto show. And That was masterclass in live sound.
I think
That was
tonight's going to
crazy.
be
Yeah.
very much like that too.
Yeah,
I think it's
No, and it's really just not only this is really impressive, like this rig and everything else, but it's what comes out of the speakers, which ultimately, man, that's the goal, right?
Well,
yeah.
the amps they're using, the guitars they're using, the drums they're using,
Yeah.
the level of talent, the level of quality from all of this stuff. It's weird to hear these type of devices through a modern PA.
Right.
You know, and we've done some outdoor shows where there was no roof and no ambience, and it's crazy how
It's like gigantic studio monitors.
it's big and full. And again, you listen to the YouTube stuff, and it's
insane.
crazy
It's
the
insane.
detail and that you get.
Yeah, awesome, Toby. Thank you for showing us the stuff for your time. Awesome.
Thank you.